Hey, friends, thanks for joining us on another adventure where each new day is the day we make.
It's supposed to redirect you. So
let's see.
All right, we should be live. We'll wait here for a few minutes to let everybody join.
So you have to click it, I think.
Okay.
So
let me just let people know. Click. Hold on. All right. We got one person viewing. Welcome.
who is it?
It doesn't tell us any. 3 people.
All right.
They came over from YouTube. Mm-hmm.
Thanks for joining, guys. Appreciate everybody being here. Good morning, Craig. Hey, Dave.
David says it's cold here in Arkansas. It's cold here in Florida too. No lie. It's like 40 something degrees.
Not his kind of cold, though.
No, not that cold. Then we got Craig. Good morning.
Old Man Old Truck. Hello,
good morning,
everybody.
Old Man Old Truck.
Yeah, sorry. That may have been a little confusing how that works. The premiere is a different link than the live. That's just how you have to do it on YouTube. So in the future, and when we do these, that's what we're going to do is we'll have a specific thumbnail for the premiere and then a separate one for the live stream. And then we'll put the live stream on the other one so you guys know which one is which.
Yeah, YouTube has an option where after the premiere, you can redirect people over to a live broadcast like we're doing now. But I don't know how it notifies you guys on that end. So I'm sorry if it was confusing. I know Craig was over here on this live waiting for us, but he was missing the video. So like Joe said, from now on, what we're going to do when we do a premiere is we'll do the premiere on YouTube, and then we'll have it redirect you over here to where we can do a Q&A chat afterward. If this is something you guys like. If it's not something you like, please let us know if there's something else that you would like us to do. We're just trying to have more ability to engage with you guys directly. So.
Hey, Jeremiah, good morning. We're just kind of curious who has the colder temps this morning. So if you guys have it handy, just post down in here what your current temps are and we'll see who the winner is.
So Craig's got low 30s in Maryland.
Okay.
David, let us know how cold it is in Arkansas.
I think we're in the 60s.
We're in the 60s now.
Yeah.
Phil, let us know. And Jeremiah, you're in North Florida, so let us know how chilly it is up there. So.
But hopefully most of you guys were able to see the premiere and the video. It was an exciting trip that I had.
37 in Maryland right now. Brr, that's cold.
Okay.
That's cold.
28. Okay.
Ooh. 28 in Arkansas. Uh-oh.
Look out.
Yeah. Brr.
Yeah, it's cold here because the gators aren't on the bank. They're submerged. So that's how you know it's cold in South Florida is when the gators aren't out.
Yeah. Why don't you take a minute and talk about the video we just watched and about why Corey was doing his personal little.
So that was a really neat trip and something different than we've done in the past. Jeremiah has 45.
Oh, okay. Phil has Sunny and 43 where he's at, and Jeremiah has 45 where he's at.
Oh, thanks for sharing, guys. So I think David had it right.
Yep. David wins 28.
David's the winner. But yeah, it was a neat trip. It was something different than we've done. And Corey is a friend of ours. He used to work for the Florida State Park System, and he used to be in the Coast Guard like we were. So we shared some things in common with that. And I've traveled internationally with him a couple of times to India and around Europe. And he had a personal goal of doing all 50 states and 50 countries by the time he was 50. And so months back, he reached out to me to see if I would be able to connect with him in North Dakota and take him through those states. And a bonus for me was we got to do it overlanding, which is something that he hasn't really done before. So it was really neat to show him that way of travel. And, with the camping and going through places and, the things you see along the way on the journey overlanding. And he's also planning an around the world trip with his son.
Mm-hmm.
So this is something that he's probably going to have to do quite a bit. So it was a good thing to expose him to that method of travel. And so it was a lot of fun. And I got to see a lot of places that I hadn't seen before in the process. So.
Yeah, and you went on a trip with Corey and our other friend Ramon to Greece, Italy,
Liechtenstein,
mm-hmm.
Switzerland, and Austria.
Yeah. And then last year you went with Corey to India, Corey and his son.
Yeah, we spent 3 weeks in Rajasthan, India, which is basically a state within India. But India is so huge. It took us all 3 weeks to do Rajasthan. And him being an archaeologist was really neat to have along. And he really enjoyed it. I mean, we visited a lot of the palaces and a lot of the historical places, stepwells and, famous stepwells, some UNESCO World Heritage Sites. And it was just really something really different than I've ever experienced because of just India's culture and the food and everything was so great. Definitely want to go back there.
Yeah, we have a whole series we actually did on India. We just don't have it on The Day We Make because The Day We Make has primarily been an overlanding and family travel channel. But we are, we're thinking about different options, whether we should start a whole new channel about international travels for Joe and I, whether we should just continue on The Day We Make. So if you guys have any feedback on that, we'd love to hear it. We're open to anything. Joe also has his other channel, The Feral Backpacker, that he started. This spring, he did a 100 and something mile.
Yeah, a little over 100 miles.
Hike on the Fisherman's Trail in Portugal. And then tomorrow morning, his dad's going to we're down in South Florida right now. His dad's going to drop him off at the start of the Florida Trail down in the Everglades and Big Cypress area. And that's going to be an 1,100 plus mile hike that he's going to be doing over the next several months. So we celebrated Christmas early, did everything with the family. And then he's going to hit the trail while it's nice and cool in Florida. Got a cold front rolling in.
Yeah, perfect timing on that.
Yeah. And so we also, over there on the whatever side of the screen that is for you guys, you'll see a little donate thing there. We started a nonprofit last year called Warriors in the Wild, and he's going to be basically hiking. We're going to try to raise $1 for every mile he hikes. So our goal for this specific push is $1,100. This money will be going directly to taking veterans out on outdoor excursions, whether it's overlanding, fishing, backpacking, kayaking, hunting, whatever, we get together. We'll do a couple of trips a year and take them out for an outdoor experience. We have a couple of actual therapists that have signed up with us to volunteer to go on these trips. And they are available for veterans on these trips if there's some kind of crisis that they need to talk through or whatever. So it's really about getting veterans outdoors. Like, we love being outdoors. You guys know that. And it's about giving them those experiences. So
Craig, we're so glad that you're enjoying the videos. And that's kind of what we aim for, is we just really want to capture, and I try to capture that on my backpacking channel, is just some of the more granular, like seemingly mundane things, but it's really all of those little things that add up on your journey or your trip that really make what it is, and the experience is what it is. You're gonna have to go say something.
Mm-hmm.
Ice cold and windy in Omaha, Nebraska. Oh, wow. Yeah. I bet you're getting some cold breezes through there. Hey, Bluebird Overland, thanks for joining. Yeah, we did a little competition earlier to see who had the coldest morning, and right now it's David Beasley. He's at 28. So if you can share what yours is, you might be the new winner. So Bluebird Overland, join.
Okay. Yeah, it was your dad.
Yeah, I just wanted to do this too, just to give a little bit more of if any questions came up while you were seeing the video, and just things that we can actually answer and show in the video, because it gets 21. Okay, we have a new.
Sorry, David.
David's been dethroned.
Woo.
21. So, wow,
Yeah.
that's a cold one.
So yeah, I'm not sure exactly where you ended, but this year we're kind of.
I was talking to Craig about what we try to capture in the videos and just get those little details and more spontaneity to where it's not just
Craig, yeah.
Is it really winning at 21? Yeah.
No, you're not really winning.
Yeah.
No.
Exactly. Well, I mean, they're suffering the worst, so we got to, build them up and make them happy.
Yeah.
So at 21 for sure.
Good job, Bluebird Overland. You win. Yay.
Yeah. No. Yeah, I mean, but we have an unfair advantage, in all honesty, being in Florida. So
absolutely not.
The story of my life.
It's okay, David. So David actually has been with us since the very beginning, since we first started documenting our travels on YouTube. That was I think we met him back in 2020 and at a event at Artemis Overland, met him and his daughter and his son-in-law.
Yeah.
And he's been following our story since then. So he's seen the really early videos that were just not great, but we over the years we've tried to refine our editing and our videography and things like that. We don't try to make it some kind of crazy production, but at the same time we want to engage people and you guys to enjoy it as well. So we got a question here.
What got us into overlanding? So that's a really good question. So we both retired from the Coast Guard in 2017, and we wanted to step away from our careers a little bit. And the kids were getting older. They were like 7.
8 and 6.
8 and 6.
The twins were 8 and Maddie was 6.
I split the difference. Yeah. And so we wanted to spend more time with them. And so we sold 2 homes. We sold a lot of our stuff, and we started RVing. And we RV'd for 3 years, but we found that RVing was still very limiting. We couldn't get a lot of places. Plus, we mastered it a bit. So we had gone from a house to figuring out the logistics of living in an RV and traveling around. So with the cost going up and being limiting, we were kind of bored with it, quite honestly.
Yeah.
And we were looking for a new adventure, and we stumbled upon Epic Family Road Trip. And that was in 2020 or late 2019, early 2020.
Mm-hmm.
And we got to see the places they were going, and they were a family of 5, and they also had a Jeep. We only had a Jeep at the time. We were a family of 5, so we shared a lot in common with them. And we saw where they were going and the memories they were making with their kids. And it was way better places than we were getting to in the RV.
Yeah.
And so we were like, that's what we're going to do, because at the time we were looking for our next adventure and challenge.
We were going to slow roll into overlanding, though, because, when we both retired from the Coast Guard, we moved into our RV temporarily. And we actually want to do a whole origin story video series. We just haven't gotten to that point yet. But so we were RVing full time at the time, living in our RV, trying to find housing near Tallahassee because I had gotten a job with the state of Florida. And the housing market there is really weird. Like there's 20, 30, 40-year-old homes that have not been remodeled, but people are asking top dollar for them because, a lot of the state leadership lives near and around Tallahassee. So the housing market was very strange. But anyway, it took like 6 months after trying to look, we gave up. We said, you know what, we're just going to live in the RV. We're perfectly happy in the RV. Everybody's doing well. We're just going to do that. And so fast forward to 2020, that was around 2017, 2018. So we did about 3 years in the RV, traveled around. 2020, I decided to leave that job at the state of Florida because I was working 12 to 14-hour work days again. And that's the whole reason why I retired from the Coast Guard. Yes. So we decided to leave that job. We started volunteering at Florida State Parks, which is how we met Corey. He was a volunteer coordinator. Mm-hmm. We started traveling around doing that stuff. And then in 2020, when Joe was doing a short-term job with Walmart, our RV got totaled and we kind of got thrown into overlanding. So we had to quickly scramble around and try to figure out.
It was a blessing in disguise because we had been like I said, we're looking to get into overlanding and all that, but we weren't sure how we were going to do it and all of that sort of thing and unwind the RV.
Yeah.
And so then when that happened, it basically threw us into it, right out the gate. So
yeah,
it worked out really well.
Whether you believe in God or the universe or whatever, it kind of answered our question for us and threw it in there, and we started binge watching Epic Family Road Trip.
Hey, Teddy, thanks for joining.
Hey, Teddy.
That part of Florida, it can get really cold up there. We lived outside of Jacksonville, out in the boonies for a little while when we were stationed in the area. And I think there was one year where we got close to single digits. So
yeah,
it can get quite cold up there.
So we did the FAT was it last January or the January before?
I think it was 2 years ago.
The Florida Adventure Trail. They're actually getting ready to come out with a southern portion of that within the next month or two. So shout out to
it goes all the way down to Key West.
Yeah, shout out to those guys. That's going to be pretty awesome. It's a cool trail. A lot of the hurricanes modified some parts of that. So I don't know how they've adjusted for that, but there is a southern portion they're coming out with, Teddy. Let's see. We got here Bluebird Overland. Is Warriors in the Wild a national-based organization? Yes, it's a national nonprofit. We have a military base here in Omaha and very heavy military population. Good to know.
Yeah, and we're kind of looking to do it in different regions because people can't travel long distances or don't have the budget to get there. So our concept is to basically break it up regionally when we're doing these events and kind of spread them around so that people that aren't able to travel long distances for various reasons are still able to go. And we want to have a variety of things that we do at the events because people have different interests. So, if it's kayaking or hiking or something along those lines, it may not be a physical reason why they don't want to do it. It should just be their own personal interest. So we're kind of trying to get it to where we kind of cater to people's individual preferences on things. And we're also looking to collaborate with other veteran organizations because we have a lot of veteran organizations, but they don't work together necessarily and collaborate and use the resources that they each have to benefit the veterans. So
right. And then so basically the whole goal with Warriors in the Wild is not only to take these veterans on different outdoor experiences, but also to encourage them, provide follow-up with them and encourage them to volunteer with other veteran organizations. So we've reached out to different ones like Off-Road Outreach, Veterans Off Grid, and we're looking to partner with different other veterans organizations, not only to help get the word out about ours, but also to help get the word out about theirs, because there's a lot of really cool people doing a lot of really great things out there. And it would be great to give veterans that have attended one of our events that sense of purpose and camaraderie and, have follow-on adventures and excursions and volunteer opportunities with other organizations as well. So what we got here?
Galen said, great video. Thanks, Galen.
Oh, he won. It's 15 there.
Oh, 15. Oh, so we have a new winner.
15 in Kansas.
All right. I like the competition.
Craig says last year Mind Overland did this. Oh, did the FAT. Okay. It was in the 20s.
That's a great trail. If anybody hasn't done it, it goes through some beautiful parts of the state of Florida. Especially, I really like the Panhandle and the armpit area.
Yeah,
I guess you could call it an Ocala National
the
Forest.
Big Bend area, the armpit area. So my Sunshine State Overland is the one that the guys that put that out, the Florida Adventure Trail.
So check them out.
Yeah, you can go and download the GPX files from them. And again, the southern part the southern extension they've done, I think, is coming out mid-January.
Okay, and then we have Bluebird Overland coming to Florida in late 2025 to run the FAT. Excellent. Yeah, you guys are really going to enjoy it. And if there's a lot of rains and it's really wet, it can get really exciting. So.
Oh yeah, real swampy. Teddy, we need to do that southern part. Yes, Teddy?
Let's do it, Teddy.
Let's do it.
You know where to find us.
Well, you'll be roaming the earth, but I'll be here.
Well, you know where to find Misty.
Yeah. Your Devil's Tower story reminded me of Close Encounters of the Third Kind. So question, ever seen anything strange in the night sky?
Oh yeah, David, I remember that question. It's going to be a lot easier to answer it verbally than text for me. I'm a better verbal person, but I didn't particularly see anything there. I have seen a lot of things over the years, and even
Yeah.
before I was overlanding, just being out at sea and doing different things in the service. But particularly, I saw some things in New Mexico, which was right after the trip that the series that we have out now. So after this series, I went down to New Mexico, and I have a whole nother series coming out on that everybody's, I hope you guys enjoy that. What happened to the video?
It's right here.
Okay. So when I was in New Mexico, like, you always see like the lights, like Starlink kind of lights, but you know that they're Starlink because of how they're moving. But basically what was different about these and everything that I've ever seen is they didn't really just move linearly. They were moving around in different directions. They would slow in speed up, or they would stop entirely. They would like make a bright flash and then nothing, or dim out slowly. So just this whole variety of things as I was stuck at camp because there was a snowstorm coming during that time. So a winter storm. So I was just kind of preparing that night for the next day when everything showed up. And it was a really clear night. I guess it was like the calm before the storm kind of thing. And so I did see a lot of things there that I hadn't seen like that before, if that makes any sense. So
Yeah, we've seen all kinds of.
But yeah, I remember that
things.
movie, and that was I remember seeing that as a kid, and it was that, and E.T. was another big one I remember. But Close Encounters, that was a crazy movie. I remember like the mashed potato scene when he's making the mountain and stuff. Really cool.
Yeah. So real quick, Sunshine State Adventure Company is the one that does the FAT. If you're looking for Warriors in the Wild, it's warriorsinthewild.org, or you can find us on Facebook or Instagram. We have a little QR code down here in the corner that you can use to donate if you'd like to donate to our cause and support Joe, on his trek.
Hey, Jesse.
Hey, Jesse.
Thanks for joining. Yeah, so my goal earlier on, we kind of mentioned it, but some people have joined in. My goal is to get $1 per mile to raise. So that's kind of what I'm personally looking to do. And we already did one event with Switchback Outdoor Safety, where we had what was it, about eight
veterans?
Eight veterans came, and he put on a whole class. If you haven't been to his classes, they're well worth going to. He's very professional, very thorough, very informative. And it was a vehicle recovery class. And he has all kinds of things set up and scenarios set up where you actually, it's not just one of the classes where you're lectured to and he's doing it and showing you. They all got their hands on everything and use their rigs and their gear. So the other benefit to that is now they're familiar with their gear and using their gear because they use their rigs and their stuff versus going somewhere and using, the organization stuff. So at any rate, that's one of the things that we've already put on. So we're just trying to raise more money to do future events and different things.
Yeah. Let me check over on Instagram real quick, see if there's any comments on there. Thank you for watching, Linda, on Instagram. And
we'll keep checking Instagram. So if you have
Yeah.
questions over there, just put them in there and we'll kind of switch back and forth.
It's not integrated into this part.
This setup, we don't have the two monitors, so we kind of got to alternate.
Yep.
Truly my vision direction.
Hold on. Okay, now you can read it.
Okay. Bluebird says, I truly admire the vision and direction of your organization is pursuing. There are countless veterans who endure serious challenges as they reintegrate into civilian life, and many of them, yeah, absolutely. And, and that's, us being in overlanding and you guys being in overlanding and doing outdoor things, we all see how the outdoors, just being out there is therapy, and just being out there brings all of us together. So even with all of us, we all have different backgrounds and we're in different places. But the common thing that we have is overlanding, which brings all of these people together that normally would never have met. So that's one of the concepts of it, is to get them out of just a typical psychologist office and the medical the medical area and get them out into nature and connect with that and connect with people that they have, relation to, that they can relate to. So,
and given that sense of purpose by, partnering up and volunteering at additional things and helping other veterans.
Yeah.
The rest of what Bluebird said was post-traumatic stress disorder. This condition can significantly elevate the risk of suicide among this population. And I'm not sure if you guys, not to be a big downer, but a lot of the different military branches, especially this year, have reported higher than usual rates of suicide for their active duty people. So we want to also reach out to the active duty community as well, in addition to the veterans, because this younger generation, I think that they're struggling a lot more in a lot different ways than us and older generations. So we want to try to find a way to bridge that gap and to benefit them as well. We got here.
Cajun Kai, hey Podnas.
Thanks
Good to see
for joining.
You too. Thanks for joining in.
Jesse would like to know, when are you leaving out?
So I'm actually leaving out tomorrow. Tomorrow I'm going to be starting. I'm going to be starting at the Oasis Visitor Center, which is in the Big Cypress National Preserve, which is actually part of the Everglades National Park system.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the terminus, the southern terminus for the trail. And so I'll be setting out early tomorrow, and that's a 31-mile trek. Just that section is through the swamp and Big Cypress Preserve. So there's only 3 places that you can camp there, and one of them has room for a few tents. So hopefully I can get there early enough, or there's not a lot of people starting. I'm starting a little bit early. Most people start after the 1st of January. So I'm hoping that kind of helps me out getting through that first section.
Yeah. And then Craig says, purpose is what I try to figure out every day. Same thing here.
Yeah. And so Craig, I talked to a friend of ours about that, because we all struggle a little bit after we get out or retire, and to try to find, to reconnect with who we are, because when you're in the service, that's kind of taken away, and your new identity is the team in the service. Right. So
yeah,
the way I kind of looked at it, the way I kind of looked at it, getting out was, you got to really refigure out who you were before you went in, and then all those things that you liked and your passions, and then do that, because that's who you were before everything. So, and
we all lose sight of that. Sorry about the noise. Just cup stuck to the plate. He says here, I like being able to talk with other veterans when they understand what we were talking about, having to explain without having to explain.
And that's the concept between the Warriors and the Wild too, because like I said, we get to go to psychologists and we get to go to medical and all of those things, but a lot of times those people were never even in the service. So you don't have a relatability to them, and they don't have a relatability to you. And it takes a long time to get them to understand or even get to see things the way that you do it. And so the advantage to doing it surrounded by veterans already is you can skip all of that process, because you already have that relationship.
Mm-hmm.
You already, without speaking it, you already know what they've done, and they've already known what you've done. So that's what I like about that concept.
We got Kai here. He says, wish I were closer to you in the route. I would set up a few trail angel spots for you.
Yeah.
So
I wish you were too. I'm going to be needing that at times. There's, even with all the development in Florida, there's still some long stretches, especially like in that first part. There's nothing for the first almost 40 miles. So
yeah, Joe's dad, he's actually a Vietnam veteran. He's earned a Purple Heart. He's going to be covering the lower part of the state as trail angel for Joe, and then I'm going to be doing central and probably the northern part.
Yeah.
Anybody Jeremiah is offered as well. So anybody that might be in or around Florida, just reach out to me and I'll let you know where he's going to be if you want to help out and do any trail angel drop-offs for him or anything like that.
Weather is so this time of the year is our dry season. In the beginning of the dry season, so it's probably not going to be as good as if I started later in January or maybe February. But the temperatures are already starting to go down, and just by looking around the area, it's definitely pretty dry. I mean, there's still water, so hopefully that helps me out. It won't be as good as if I was going north to south, because if I was going north to south, I would have finished in this spot, which would have been later in the dry season. But
Yeah.
Logistically, it's best for me to go south to north. So, but temps should be really good. The bugs should be a little bit better and forgiving on me.
Jesse's giving me crap because I made
Oh
it.
Yeah.
Listen,
Misty's already throwing
the
stuff around.
saucer and the cut, like it was a thing. It like stuck to it. Anyway, I love going live. It's always fun.
That's the great thing about live is it is raw.
Oh yeah. Welcome, Get
Get
Trucked,
Trucked. Yeah,
and
thanks
David
for joining.
Reasoner. Thank you for joining over on IG.
Yeah, you guys over there on IG, like you were on earlier, we're going to keep bouncing back and forth. We only have the one monitor because we're on the road. So we don't have the dual monitor.
Galen says, thank you for doing what you're doing, working with every day. I see a lot of need. There is a lot of need.
Yeah.
Bluebird Overland, how many days do you expect to be out, or have you set a daily distance for yourself?
The daily distance is a little tough because there's a multitude of different terrains here. So for instance, the first part in the swamp, it's almost 35 miles. So all the reports that I've seen from everybody that's done it in the past is you only do about 1 mile per hour. You can expect that because of the mud and the water and sawgrass and everything else. So that part's going to be really slow going. So normally what you'd probably be able to do in a day and a half is going to probably take 3 days, and you're also limited by where you can camp. So for instance, if you get to the one camp, but it's still early in the day, you can continue to push, but then you got to go another 19 miles before the next only available camp. So you got to be prepared to do all of that distance. So depending on what time of the day you're getting there, may be best to just sit put. So I don't really have a set, but as far as the overall time, I'm setting about 2 months for the 1,100 miles. And I think once I get north of Lake Okeechobee, I should be able to push more miles per day because there's more camping options and the trail conditions get a little better for more of the trail.
Yeah. So Galen says that should have said working with the Air Force. Yeah.
Where was that?
Well, when he said he sees a lot of, said
need.
here, he sees a lot of need. Yeah.
Oh yeah. It's all the branches. Like, we're a retired Coast Guard for those that don't know. And we were just discussing the other day when we came in, if we had one suicide per year in the Coast Guard, it was a lot. It was a lot.
Yeah.
And now that it's way higher than that, which is sad for us to see, but also perplexing because it's just so unheard of from our era and when we were in. So,
yeah. And it's just, I think they're up to 26 or 27 suicide.
Yeah. So that's
this
like
year.
In our whole career, in a 20-year career, we never saw anything close to those numbers.
Yeah. It's pretty upsetting. Okay. Craig says, you're going to shave that beard before you go and see how long you can grow it? Oh, that would be a good challenge.
I did trim it.
No, you need to shave it. Listen, Craig, you haven't seen him without a beard. Probably, maybe I'll throw up some old Coast Guard photos, but
yeah, I always say those are the photos when I was undercover.
It's a whole different person, a whole different look. But yeah, that'd be funny. See how long you can grow it while you're gone. So we have a kind of a time constraint because we have the Save Expo coming up at the end of February, beginning of March down here in Florida that we're going to be attending. And then we have the Jasper Jeep Jam in mid-March. We're going to be attending up in Arkansas. And then we're probably going to be doing the Brushy Mountain Overland.
We're going to try, yeah.
Yeah, we're going to try to hit that
if we
at
can
the
get
end. And then we've got more expos. So after this time, it's just going to be a busy year going to different shows and doing other exploration things. So we're really going to try to get him his hiking needs in before all that kicks off. Okay, he says do it. All right, we'll do it, but you got to donate, guys.
She says we'll do it.
Well, yeah. Well, I could shave my beard too. That's no problem. Oh, do it. Come to the Mid-Atlantic. Okay, we'll have to look at the dates on that. Yeah. Done. Oh, thank you. All right, you got to shave now.
What?
You got to shave your beard. He donated.
Oh, okay. Well,
we'll broadcast that too.
That will be interesting to see the progression.
We're going to broadcast that live tonight.
Nobody's even going to recognize me.
I know. That's going to be great. Yes. Awesome. So back to the Dakotas video. How are you guys liking that series? Oh yeah, no worries. No worries, Craig. Thank you.
Okay, so I don't have to shave it today then.
Oh no, you got to do it. Don't shave, stay feral.
Yeah. There's a vote for it. I like it, David.
Oh my goodness. So the Dakota series, again, like we said, Corey is a prior coastie. He's struggled with some of the same things that we have. So part of how he deals with things is he gets out there and travels internationally, travels throughout the United States, and he had set that personal goal for himself. I think he already hit his 50 countries, right?
I don't know if he's done the 50. He had 2 left.
Yeah,
he was going to go to Morocco.
Left.
He was going to go to Morocco and one other place, but I don't remember where it was in Europe. But
yeah,
I think he only has like a couple months. So I know he's went to 1.
Yeah.
So he'll get it done.
So Kai says, man, loving Joe's series. Awesome.
Yeah, thanks, Kai. Yeah, I'm actually liking the series thing, so I think we may do more things like that in the future, rather than just one-off kind of videos. And the other thing I like about it is you can show more of the area and the experience because you just have more time to do it. Because the challenge is getting it all in there, but not making it too long.
Yeah.
Because we lose a lot of people just. I like the longer videos personally because I get to see more of an immersion of what they're doing or somebody's doing. But that's just the way it goes. So I like it because you can split it up into a longer time frame and capture more of it.
Yeah, and there's a certain group of people on YouTube that also like watching longer content. So what we do is we do the series in parts. And then at the end of it, we'll put it all together in one kind of film or movie because there's a whole different group of people that like watching the longer movies. So, it just.
So Craig, the blooper reel, I really love that. But here's the issue. We've been really bad at this over the years because for a long time, we didn't make videos very much. But the other thing is, like when you're getting stuck or something's happening, a lot of times either it's not running when it happens because, it's just battery and memory space. And we film in 4K, which if you don't watch it on TV, I actually today watched one of our videos on TV for the first time because we don't actually have a TV. Yeah. So I only normally get to see it on the monitor or on my phone. But seeing it on TV on a high definition on the 4K, it's absolutely phenomenal. But doing that in 4K takes a lot of memory. So, and the other thing is when something's happened, like we get stuck or there's this big thing, we always forget to film it because we're like so focused on rectifying the problem or getting unstuck. And then afterwards, we're literally like, did you film? No. Did you film? No. And we're like, that would have been the perfect thing to film, but it's just stuff that happens so organically and so fast, and you're so focused that you don't even think to hit play or record,
We do have some blooper. I have to dig back, but we do have some bloopers and some different funny moments that happen. And I may incorporate those into our origin story. In a video coming up, we actually had one instance happen before where we set up the camera and it fell over. Well, in a video coming up in a few weeks, we have another instance where something similar happens. So, we try to keep.
I think we could go back and get. We could make one video of just nothing but bloopers.
Oh gosh, yeah, that'd be pretty funny.
Yeah, we're gonna do that, Craig.
He says, "I'm sure putting up that awning was funny to watch." And then longer movies are good if they keep me involved. Yes, and that's a struggle. Because you want to make sure that you're not skipping over things, but you also want to make sure you're not dragging things out too long where people lose interest.
Well, and the other thing that's tough is everybody has a different interest. So like some people want to see more camping and food. Some people want to see just more off-roading. Some people just want to see drone footage. And so what's hard is trying to accommodate all of those things within the time frame and scope of the video. And also there's just a lot of places where you can't drone or, there's just different factors that come into play or like you think you're recording, but it's all photos. on the GoPro. That's my favorite when that happens. And then you have like 11,000 photos and no video.
Yeah, I'm going to go down to David's comment real quick, and then we'll go back up there. So they're good, and that's along the same line of conversation. You know, we've had to adjust because they're all into the high school experience now. They're going to high school full time at a STEM school. They're really loving it a lot. Some of them have asked, they don't really have any interest in being on camera anymore, which we're trying to respect. So we're trying to see, you know, very similar to what Pete and Carol are dealing with on Epic Family Road Trip. Their kids are grown now. Ours are getting there. We're trying to find ways to kind of adjust and adapt to that by doing other things, you know, like hiking and just the two of us overlanding or doing solo trips. You know,
like if you look at Epic Family, they have the same issue that we're in, and that's why they do like the cabin series, which is a great series.
Oh, yeah,
and if you guys don't follow their channel or watch their channel, it's definitely they still put out epic stuff.
Beautiful content, and it's neat watching some of their older videos from back when we first started watching them and seeing how their children have grown. And you know, we kind of do the same thing with our children. And
well, it makes us think of when our kids were their age, because they just recently did a trip where they went to a lot of the places that they went with the kids when they were younger. And so they were reminiscing, and a lot of memories came back to them from that time. And as we were watching it, the same thing kind of happened with us. You know, we started thinking about, because you look at the photos and the videos of the things that we've done over the 4 years.
It's hard to wrap your head around.
It's hard to believe that we've been to that many places and made that many memories and places in that time frame.
So back to this comment here, Bluebird Overland says, "You mean things go wrong in overlanding? No way. No, everything's perfect and, you know, Instagram worthy and stuff. Never problems."
So one of the worst ones was, it's kind of way back, a little bit back, but it's our Kansas episode. And we were just taking these back roads in Kansas, and they had gotten a lot of snow a few weeks prior, but it had all melted. And so these roads were just atrocious. Like, they were terrible.
Sloppy.
And we happened to get stuck really bad, and it was Super Bowl Sunday. So in addition to being in the middle of nowhere in Kansas where there is nobody, there was especially nobody, and nobody coming to help. And there were no trees to winch off of. There were no rocks. I mean, it was just flat farmland and very bad. So,
well, we were only taking one rig that time, and we had 4 of us in the vehicle. Melanie had stayed back because she had started school. Madeline and Josh were with us, and they were in a ground tent, and we were sleeping inside the 4Runner. So we had very limited space, and we had to put everything in there for 4 people. We forgot our go treads. So we didn't even have go treads. We had nothing to winch to. We were scrambling to find even rocks around and near us. We were cutting up sod and trying to get that under the tires. It was a whole thing. If you haven't seen the Kansas episode, you should really watch it. We watched it again the other night, showed Joe's dad, and we were like, wow, I can't believe all of the stuff that we experienced in Kansas. And I know Galen's from Kansas, and he can attest to there's a lot of really cool things there.
You definitely don't want to skip through Kansas on your way to somewhere else. You want to hit some of these spots there. And we actually had to pass places up.
All right. So David said, always enjoy Epic Family. We do too.
Yeah,
very
fantastic.
Great people. Christopher, hello, Missy and Joe. Thank you for this. Yeah. Awesome. Thanks for watching.
Thanks for being here. Appreciate you.
No, never. It's all perfectly scripted. Yeah.
I know. And that's the thing, is it just seems that way sometimes. Because, you know, you also don't want to like show too much of that stuff, because people want to watch stuff and have a good time and a good experience. And so it's just that balance of, you can't show them a lot of the bad stuff, because then that's not fun.
Yeah. So Craig says, question, my family doesn't like camping and doesn't understand the need to go camping or overlanding. I sometimes don't enjoy being out doing things, I'm guessing, alone when the family's back home. So I understand that. I'm going to let Joe actually answer this, but I'm going to tell you as the spouse of someone who really enjoys going out and doing things that the rest of the family may not enjoy, like hiking back long distances and stuff. I support that, because if he's not happy and he's not getting his needs met as far as being able to get out and explore, then the rest of us aren't happy. So I would say that as long as your family is supportive of that and has your back about that, then don't feel bad about going out and doing those things.
Yeah. So there's 2 things. One is trying to get them to go with you. And one of the ways that we started to do, and we kind of picked that up from Epic Family Road Trip, was we started to try to incorporate them more into it, as far as helping us pick the routes or places that we wanted to go see on the journey. And when we tried to get them to do more of the filming or different things along the way, to where, you know, they feel more included because personally they're more involved. But having said that, if that still just is no interest there, it is tough, because she'll say to me a lot of times, it says, hey, you should just go do this, or why don't you just go do that? And it's hard. I mean, I could do that, but it's still hard because, number one, you're by yourself, and things aren't necessarily as fun all the time by yourself as with other people to share it with. But also, you're just away from them. So especially if it's a longer thing, like a month or two, you're away from them for 2 months or a month or how many weeks. And so, yeah, you could be doing it, but then all you're going to be doing is thinking of them or what they're doing or how they're not with you, especially if you're used to doing it with them. So that's one of the weird things on the New Mexico trip after I dropped Corey off, was most of the time we're either together or I have Josh with me. Yeah. But that one, I was completely by myself for the entire time.
That was your first really big solo trip you did.
So it was unusual and a little awkward, just in the sense that I'm usually not by myself.
Right.
But, whereas, you know, I guess most people are usually by themselves, or at least only one other person. So there's not too many families that were full-timing doing it.
Yeah, that's still very low amount of people that are doing that full-time as a family.
So yeah, I think that's where you're kind of struggling, because he's saying if he has to do it, it's by himself.
Yeah. Because they're just not interested.
Yeah, I totally get that, and it's hard. But I will tell you that, especially for the kids and for women, particularly, and Misty's found this out through Lady Overlander Radio and their discussions, is with the women and the kids, it's more down to comfort and safety. So, you know, if they're able to be comfortable as far as temperature, bugs, and getting clean, like lots of showers, and, you know, it's replicated more like if you're at home, or not so wild, you know, just being comfortable.
Well, and
safe.
Some people, you know, I know some other couples and people with children that, you know, the spouse may not necessarily love going out and doing that stuff, but, you know, maybe offer to say, hey, the whole time we're camping, you don't have to do anything. You just sit back and relax. I'll do all the cooking. Or
you could do shorter
activities, or you do shorter trips, or you know, say, hey, we're going to go camping for 2 or 3 nights, and we'll get a nice hotel room and kind of splurge. Like, we've found different ways to mix things up and make it to where the kids were still engaged and stuff while we were doing that full time. So once a week we would go get a hotel room, and we would splurge and order pizza and do a movie night and do laundry, and, you know, just kind of let the kids just chill for a day or two in a nice air conditioned hotel room before we went back out again. So there's different ways that people have found to kind of overcome that. But at the end of the day, because there's sometimes that I prefer to go out and travel solo, and I will camp solo, or I will go do things with other women, and Joe and the kids aren't there. So it's just kind of finding a way to compromise and to work together to where everybody's needs are getting met some of the time, if that makes sense.
So Galen says, need to come back.
Oh, we'll come back.
We definitely need to come back there, because, like I said, we had a hard date where we were volunteering in Colorado.
Yeah.
And that's how we kind of wound up there, is we just went through there to get to Colorado, where we were going. And we were just genuinely surprised at how many things there actually were, but we were having to bounce back and forth throughout the state. So we weren't necessarily going east to west, we were going north and south a lot. So we did have to pass quite a few things up that we still wanted to see and have to go back and see. So when we do that, we will definitely connect with you. And I'm sure there's lots of things that we're completely unaware of and oblivious to that you're not. So
I want to go back and see there's a little, I think it's a Swiss there's a little town that's
Lindsborg.
Lindsborg. Yeah. It's right outside of Coronado's castle area. you haven't seen that on the video, you need to check that out. The castle was pretty cool.
So Lensborg is very neat.
Lensborg.
It's like I think it's Swedish.
Swedish, maybe.
It's a
yeah.
Swedish. I mean, they have the cobblestone streets and the architecture of the buildings and the houses are. I mean, you really think you're there.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty sure it's just where they immigrated to whenever they did, and that's why that area is like it is. That's where they came from.
Let's see what Cajun Kai says here. Comfort is a big deal, not making them rough it so much or make planned fun days, hot shower, hotel days. Exactly. Yeah. You just got to kind of adjust and compromise.
Everything that I don't do.
Well, we do it.
Yeah, I totally agree, Kai.
Christopher, I started overlanding solo and now my girls are all growing up and rarely enjoy getting out for weeks at a time. So I'm glad that we anchored in Colorado. Absolutely. So I can still get out and see all my favorite places. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And that's the thing. The more people you add, there's more accommodation that has to be made and logistics.
Yeah.
And also, you know, it's the same with our girls. You know, it's that challenge of finding the balance between being in the wild and having that wild, raw experience, but still having it to where it's not too much of that to where they're so uncomfortable or have anxiety to the point where they're not enjoying it. And if they're not enjoying it, then you're not enjoying it. So, and everybody's situation will be different because all of those thresholds will be different, you know, with each individual. So,
yeah, let's check over on IG real quick.
We have more people on there.
All right. Welcome, Exploring Life, Lindy and Austin Patrick.
Yeah, if you guys got questions over here or comments, just chime in there. And like I said, we'll be bouncing back and forth since we don't have the dual monitor since we're traveling on the road.
We're checking in with you over here on IG, guys. Life Worth Living Overland. Thank you for joining over on IG. All right. Over here on StreamYard, we have Galen said Lensborg and look up Lucas, Kansas. Okay. Definitely. Lensborg is only 30 minutes from me. Yeah, it looked like a really cool town. We definitely want to go back and check that out.
And there was a campground just outside of it across the river. We didn't wind up staying there.
Yeah.
But there was some primitive sites. There was maybe, 5?
Mm-hmm. Bluebird Overland says, I'm working on putting an adventure together, run through the back roads of western and northern Nebraska. There's near to none overlanding here, but once you get into the backcountry, there's so much to see.
Yeah, we actually touched a little bit on this series where I'm with Corey on Nebraska because Nebraska was one of the states that he still needed, one of the 4 states.
Mm-hmm.
So we don't have a whole lot there because he only had a week and a half, which was really hard to do those 4 states in a week and a half for me. But I wanted to have him to have the best experience that he wanted to have. So we really focused more on North Dakota and South Dakota. And that was mainly because that's where his interest was. And so we have a whole lot of beautiful places that we go and experiences we have there. Mm-hmm. But we do ultimately wind up in Nebraska. So later on in the series, we'll be getting into Nebraska and hope you guys check that out and enjoy it.
In Iowa, right? Iowa.
Yeah, we went to North Dakota, South Dakota, Iowa, and Nebraska.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, let's check.
Once you get in the backcountry.
Yep. Yeah, that's what we
there's
just
so
did.
much to see. Mm-hmm. What did Teddy say over there?
Teddy and JoJo.
Teddy.
Hey, JoJo.
Good to see you guys. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah. Yeah, so we're trying to basically show some more solo overlanding opportunities. Joe and I will be doing some stuff as a couple. I'll be doing some solo stuff and doing stuff with other women. So there's a lot of really cool things that are going to be coming up on the series, even though the kids aren't going to really be on there as much. They will be on there from time to time. We'll give you guys updates on YouTube as to how they're doing and little blurbs and stuff, what we're allowed to show, because teenagers are very particular about being on camera.
Yeah, we know everybody misses the kids
and
we miss having them with us. I mean, we're literally going through everything Epic Family went through because it's just the same dynamic and the same. But it's also nice to talk to them and they're like, that's exactly what our kids went through at that time.
Yeah.
Or this is what we had to do. And you can tell it's hard. It's hard on us too, because we like doing that with them, the kids, obviously. And we like having those experiences. So it's a little tough and a little bitter to not have them along as much, with
Yeah.
us as much and doing those things anymore. But, they're growing up to be their own people and liking and doing their own things. And that's just something that comes along with it. So,
Well, and I'd like to remind everybody that going about part-time and overlanding is way different than living that lifestyle full-time. And so, they did that for quite a few years, and they were little troopers with that, and they had great times. But I think it's something that when they look back as adults, they'll say, wow, we really got to do a lot of great experiences.
Which their kids did.
Right.
They said that.
Yeah. Pete and Carol said the same thing.
After that phase, they were thanking them and so grateful that they did that with them and shared that with them. And later on in their life, when you get that perspective.
But those of you that have teenagers, that teenagers want to just do that normal teenage life and have those experiences as well.
Bluebird, we're on this one here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Curious to know where you went.
Like I said, I wish we could have done more. It's very hard in a week and a half, but there's still going to be some interesting things that I think you're going to enjoy just the journey. But an interesting fact about Corey, I've kind of covered it, and I don't know who here hasn't heard it, but he's also an archaeologist. So it was really neat to have him along and his perspective on things as we were hiking or going through some of these areas. And we're finding you'll find out in the other videos where we're finding these various things. And it's nice to have his perspective on something from a professional background that I otherwise wouldn't have noticed or had any inclination as to what I was looking at. So
yeah, and I think that a lot of you guys that already follow and are subscribed to our channel know that we don't just go out and hit trails. We also go to historical sites, ghost towns. We love getting that history aspect of travel, whether we're in the US or overseas. And so we try to incorporate a little bit of everything, regular life at the campsite when we're just, downtime, different things that we use, different experiences that we have, and, traveling and seeing those cool historic places. So that's kind of where we have the channel right now. Again, back to my conversation earlier about where we're going to take the day we make now that the kids are getting older, and it's going to just primarily be Joe and I. If you guys want to see more international travel experiences, it may not include being in a vehicle off-roading, let us know. If you want to know, I just want to see you guys hitting trails, that's cool too. We're trying to give you guys what you want, but also trying to be true to ourselves still. So, we're willing to go wherever that takes us, basically. So, what do we got here? Kai
has a great question here.
Okay.
So Kai with Wandering Buffalo Adventures. They're also part of Jasper Jeep Jam. So I don't know if you guys are familiar with that. I know some of you are. Jasper Jeep Jam. They put an event on in Jasper, Arkansas.
Mm-hmm. It's a little event. It's basically a fundraising event for the city of Jasper so that they can provide free events, outdoor concerts, and things like that throughout the year to the city, to the people in Newton County, Arkansas, and the city.
But it's a good rally. It's a rally, so
it's really fun.
Everybody brings their rigs there. There's camping available. They have food trucks. They have live music. So there are some vendors there. So you have a little bit of everything there. It's a great event. But
yeah, it's not very vendor heavy.
His question is, no right or wrong answer. Do you guys rather going with a group, 6 to 10, or just a few people? Maybe I'm a lone wolf, but I don't prefer a large group.
Right.
So, us, or at least for me personally, I don't mind the groups in small doses. 6 to 10 would be a lot for me. If I were to go in a group, probably 3 to 4 at the most would be ideal.
Right.
But I also like just being there by myself because, just with other people, there's just more going on, more to accommodate, more to consider. Everybody's going to have what they want to do and when they want to do it and how they want to do it. And then everybody has to be comfortable with all of that. So depending on where you want to go and all these different conditions. And so it is nice. The thing that I do like about it is you do have people with you. So you have resources and you have logistics that you wouldn't have by yourself, because being by myself a lot of times, or when we were by ourselves, we had to take a lot of things under consideration because number one, we were living out of the rigs. And so we couldn't just trailer them home or wait for a repair or something because that was our house and we had our kids with us. So, we had to think of their comfortability, their safety, their well-being. And it's not just what we wanted and the risk we wanted to take for ourselves. So,
you'll notice
we got a little bit of a different situation than a lot of people as far as that goes. But I would say for me, it's doses. I like it in doses.
And we're not huge, like moderate to difficult trail riders for that reason, because we were living out of our rigs full time and they're also our daily drivers. So, now that we're not doing that full time, we may hit some more complex or technical trails. Again, we had 3 little kids with us too, but back to whether or not we should travel as a big group or just a few people. I like both. I love being around a nice big group of people, but maybe only for like 2 or 3 days, like a weekend kind of thing. And then if you're hitting a longer distance thing, maybe 1 to 3 people is how I would prefer.
Circling back to the thing you just said prior, I forget where I was going to go with it, but you were talking about
traveling,
before you got
not hitting the really sketchy trails and stuff.
Yeah.
Because of,
that's what it was. So, and it's not that we were opposed to doing the sketchy trails. We would, but also it depended on if I had to. So if we were by ourselves and we had the kids and all that, if it's something that I had to do to get it's part of what we're doing as the journey, that's one thing. But we wouldn't set out to do it just because it was difficult or just because it was a named trail of some kind, like a Jeep badge thing. Because again, like for us, the off-roading is awesome and we love it.
We use it as a tool.
But it's not the reason that we're there is to get the badge. It's part of just the overall journey of getting to the places we want to see and the areas we want to get to.
Yeah. Okay. Craig says large groups take a lot of logistics. That's very
that's
true.
what I mean. There's more accommodation, that has to go into factoring everything in. Some people are early risers, some people aren't. Some people eat at certain times of the day. Some people eat certain things, and
people have different comfort levels on trails and
different comfort levels, different rig capabilities.
Mm-hmm.
Just their own experience and what they're comfortable even doing. So it's not that we're against it at all. We have done it many times in the past. It's just, you have to be prepared for, it's a totally different dynamic than when you're by yourself, because you only have to consider your needs and wants.
Right.
So
Kai here says, I can do big groups in small doses. I just like the more quiet, peaceful trips. Absolutely. Yeah. That's what we're doing it for. Man.
Yeah. And that's where I'm at, Kai, is I do it. As you know, I've been with many groups in the past and we've done different things, but predominantly and percentage wise, I'm definitely by myself more, for sure.
And I think that the trip that we did with Kai and Lisa is a great example of that, because, they came out to Colorado. They had not been to Colorado and explored Colorado, where we had a long time ago. So they were more interested in checking out those well-known trails and those different experiences and seeing that different scenery that we kind of had already seen. So we were like, all right, we'll go ahead of you guys and we'll set up camp so that we have somewhere to camp, because if you guys have tried to find campsites in Colorado, sometimes it can be a struggle. So we were kind of dividing and conquering, where we did a few trails with them, but we would also go ahead and set up camp to handle that part of the logistics so that they could go out for the day
and
explore and have those first time experiences. And they knew that they had somewhere to come that night.
And you went on a few of them. Mm-hmm. But one of the main issues I had why I didn't go was I had for a while, I had a 4-wheel drive issue.
Yeah.
I wasn't able to get into 4-wheel drive. And because of where we were and the timeframes of everything out there, it was 3 weeks wait just to get a diagnostic done before any repairs were done or anything. And I didn't have 3 weeks to sit around and wait on a diagnostic. So I was literally rolling around in 2-wheel drive for most of the summer and got through pretty much everything. But having said that, since I had that issue in Colorado when we were out there with Kai and Lisa, Misty would go with them. And what I would do is I would just go ahead and try to secure an epic site for that next evening. When they were done trail riding, they'd have a place to land and we'd all have a place to hang out at. And it worked out great because some of the areas, there are just get tight because there's so many people during that small window in Colorado out exploring and doing the same thing. So, and of course, everybody wants to be at the great site. So it worked out really good where I would just go ahead, I'd get there early enough to snag a site. I'd send them the pin or we'd coordinate and they would show up and we'd just have a good evening. And it was a really, really good time. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Chris says, large group politics are a pain. Amen to that, brother.
Yeah.
Bluebird Overland. I've always had to go out solo, but feel like I would prefer smaller groups. Overlanding is all about the memories and building those experiences with my wife and dogs. Really want to build community. Shameless plug. If you want to join us over on Patreon, we are going to be doing a few patron-only little get-togethers. We don't have a ton of patrons, so they are going to be very small and intimate. But we are going to be trying to plan those in the next year or two to where we meet up with some of our patrons on these small group outings and go and explore things together. Again, you can join as a free member. There's, I think, a $5, $10, and $25 option. We keep it very low. But we like to post things like that on there. Some of these trips will also coincide with different events and expos as we're traveling, so that hopefully some of our people will already be in the area attending one of these other things. So it won't be a huge lift to try to travel and meet up.
But I agree, overlanding, that's what's special to it about us and why we got into it was just being able to get out to these remoter areas with the solitude, the tranquility, having the animals around because you don't have a lot of people staying out there because they can't get to it or they don't know about it. And it's not a big group. It's not the Griswolds showing up and cutting down trees. And, basically the way I look at it is we become part of the environment and share the environment with everything around us versus being this intrusive thing, just landing in there and scaring everything off. And that's what's nice, just to sit there for an extra day or two and not keep moving and all these things, because when you're sitting there for a couple days, you become part of the environment. The animals begin to accept you and not view you as something foreign and scary. They just come out and eat or hang out or come by to check you out even. And so you just get to see a lot more wildlife than you normally would. And you just get a better overall experience. So that I couldn't agree more.
Yeah, let's see here. Craig says, I've been at campsites and people come with a Honda with a mattress strapped to the top. I mean, I guess whatever
and you'll see there's a wide variety. Some of it is due to just ingenuity and resourcefulness, and some of it is just due to what people have. And so, I remember a time when people literally thought we were homeless. They would offer us things and they would come up to us and, think that we were literally homeless and we were houseless. We didn't view ourselves as homeless. We viewed us as houseless because, our vehicles were our home. And it was just really hard to explain to them that we were in our situation because we chose to be in that situation. It wasn't due to hardship or misfortune, the wheel of misfortune. It was something that we actually chose to do.
Yeah. So we've got over here on IG 719 Overland said, are you going to be at Overland Expo Mountain West 25? I will absolutely be at every Overland Expo in 2025. We'll be doing Ladies Overland Lounge with Lady Overlander Radio there. Joe will probably be at some of the Overland Expos. I'm not sure if he'll be at all of them because, again, we've got 3 teenagers to manage and stuff. We'll be heavily relying on family for part of that. They also said, just wait until the horses come and watch you sleep. We've had cows do that to us.
Yeah, cows are, there's also a big delay on Instagram too.
Yeah, see that.
Yeah, cows are very entertaining. And what I've noticed is they come through a lot during the middle of the night. They will come around during the day, but and they're very curious too. They're just funny. Like they'll literally come up and try to figure you out and see what you're up to. And some of them are more skittish and they're way off. And then you'll have a bold one or two that will actually come into your camp. So I actually had that happen in, where was I? I have to think about it. I was literally somewhere on one of the more recent trips. It was when I was in New Mexico.
Mhm.
I had a bull actually.
Oh yeah.
He came all around my vehicle, and I was in the middle of cooking, and I didn't know if he was going to tear my vehicle up or go after the food, but it was a little nerve wracking because I didn't know and he eventually
Left.
walked off.
And then
Thankfully.
what was it? The day or two later, the rancher came by and was
2
like,
days later.
"Have you seen my bull?" And
2
you were
days
like, "Yeah,
later,
actually, I have."
The ranchers came up in a side-by-side, and they said hi to me, and we got to talking, and they said they were looking for a bull and if I had seen him. And I said, "Oh, I've seen him about 2 days ago, though." And he came all into my camp and checked me out. And they just kind of looked at me and they said, "Well, where did he go?" And I said, "I don't know. He walked off." I told him the direction, and I said he hadn't been back. So he says, "We've been looking all over for him for days and we can't find him." So hopefully they found him.
So David here says, "What about discovering that local rodents have built a nest in your engine bay?" Boy, have we
David,
had
that thing, I'm telling you, when I was up there in the tent, I've never heard such commotion and banging around. Usually you don't hear them. They're just these silent things. You'll see the effects of what they do, but you'll never see or hear them. This thing, it literally sounded like a heavy construction site.
And you had all this grass. It looked like a salad.
Yeah, and when I got down there the next morning and popped the hood, I was like, this guy was busy.
So one thing I was going to say about that is that's not the first time we've had rodents in the Jeep. For whatever reason, in the 4Runner and the Land Cruiser, never had a rodent issue. The Jeep, I don't know how, maybe it's the way it's built or whatever, but
I don't have the drain plugs
and stuff. So we've had rodent issues in the Jeep several times. The mama came in and had a bunch of babies that we had to clean out in Idaho. There was I think it was that same mama when you opened up the glove box that time to go grab something in there and she came out and jump scared you.
Well, and a lot of times I'll leave my vehicle the back open.
Yeah.
Because I won't necessarily close up my kitchen just for convenience and efficiency and laziness.
Yeah.
And I'll leave my power stuff hooked up. So I want to unplug all my power stuff and things. So that's another way they get into. But
we've had critter issues with the Jeep. It's been quite the experience. Okay. Bluebird Overland says, "Did you find it challenging to begin a Patreon? I'd be happy to join it." Awesome. You guys are awesome and inspiring. Thank you very much.
I don't think it's hard to start it. It's hard to get people to join.
It's hard to get people to join any kind of paywall type thing, right? But I think
understandably.
That's why we try to keep the cost very low. And we try to, and again, this is something we're going to reach out to you guys about, like, what would you guys like to see in addition on Patreon? A lot of times we'll share things specifically about the kids, or we'll share like any articles we've been featured in, or other things we've written, or behind the scenes photos.
So one of the things
we're still navigating that.
One of the things I shared with Craig is I'd like to do, and I'm curious to see, since we have more of them on here right now, like once a month, maybe we just do sort of what we're doing now. And I think that's a good opportunity for the patrons to meet each other, the other patrons, in addition to us all just getting together, because we kind of want to hear more about what you guys are up to also, and overlanding and just generally anything else, just things that are going on in your lives or that, people are willing to share. And I just think it's a nice way to make a community in here to where, you're not patrons, you're just part of our circle, and we're all part of the same circle, and we can get together and coordinate. So even if we don't all get together, maybe you're going through Kansas and
you can
Galen
reach out to other
can
people
help you out, or you're going through wherever the patrons are. And so it's also a network as you're traveling around and overlanding, and we can all share and collaborate ideas and different rig ideas and configurations. We've discussed quite a few things with Craig, and
he says that here. I like the monthly chats. Also enjoyed the conversation we had on the phone about the trailer. So we got on a call with him a week or two ago, right?
Yeah, and that's what we want.
Just discuss
you
different
guys
pros
can just
and
call
cons.
us up, and we can have a personal conversation about things and ideas that you have, and maybe we can share our experience. Because in his instance, we've had trailers, we've had one rig, we've had two rigs, we've had rooftop tents, Misty's now sleeping on a bed platform in the rig. So we've kind of over the years went through the gamut of the different options, and And right now there's just so many options that weren't around when we started. So I can only imagine it's very difficult to be building out or, looking at some of your options now, because it's just mind blowing how many things that there are.
Oh yeah. Over here on Instagram, Family Camping Adventures, thank you for joining.
Hey.
Pete Dirt, Anna Loves Nature.
Yeah.
And then Life Worth Living Overland mentioned the big cat in Wyoming.
Family Camping Adventures, if you haven't checked him out, he does some stuff with his son. It's great to see, because again, we're a family channel, and I just know that his son is going to love that. A matter of fact, one of his recent videos, he was saying how his son loved to be in the water and play in the river. And I told him that Josh is the same way. It didn't matter where we were or what we were doing. If there was water around, he was out of the rig and in the water faster than you could even imagine. So,
oh yeah.
And the big cat in Wyoming, Teddy, that was, that was definitely a harrowing experience. We were camped in a spot in Wyoming. We were with Bill and Deb with Cottywampa Overland. If you haven't, not familiar with their channel, I definitely check them out. But we were part of a 2,300-mile journey through Wyoming with them over several weeks, and Teddy was part of that group. And we were camped out along this nice little creek. There were cows around us, which I think is what attracted a mountain lion, because it came through our camp in the middle of the night, and it made us known that it was in charge. And I think Teddy at one point happened to be outside of his trailer, and then Bill got out of the trailer
Bill got out because he had heartburn. I'm like, that's not a reason to get out of your.
Luckily, they're both still with us, and it decided to move along.
But if you haven't heard a mountain lion growling and doing its noises in the middle of the night,
it was scary.
Oh my gosh!
Especially when you only have some canvas between you and it.
Yeah, it was a freaky sound for sure.
Those are the memories, Teddy. We need to get together and make some more, buddy.
Yeah. All right. Craig says, thanks for live chat. I need to head out. Thank you, Craig, for watching. Good luck on the trail.
Thanks for coming in, Craig.
Yeah. And we'll be posting updates on his feral backpacker and on the day we make as to how he's doing on the trail and that kind of stuff. And let's see over here on IG. Hello. Haha. That's right. Family Camping Adventures.
So Sheena Swami, thanks for joining. He's, so I met him when I was over in India with Corey. We were talking about earlier how I went to India with Corey for a few weeks, and he was really kind and took us to some of his favorite little street places to eat. And he got us to eat some of that stuff, which was absolutely amazing. He took us to a temple, and this was during the time of Diwali, which is a big festival for them.
Yes.
Every year. And they have just so much going on, and can't thank him enough for doing that. Can't wait to go back and meet up with them again. And hopefully he can make it over here and I can return the favor.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's see what we got here. Yeah, we covered all of that. Yeah, so back to going to the different shows. We've talked to Lady Overlander Radio side here. We've talked to Jasper Jeep Jam. We've talked to More Expo, the Save Expo, all 4 of the Overland Expos. Overland of America. We'll be hitting all of those events this year, and we're going to be adding in a few others here and there. Again, Arla and our big push is to try to get more women involved in overlanding, try to give them that confidence and the skill set that they need, let them talk through different things, and, kind of help with some of those initial fears of getting into that. And I think Joe and I, on both the male and female perspective, we really enjoy going to those shows to educate people and to let you guys ask those basic questions when you're just starting out, because we've been there, and we really didn't, other than watching Epic Family Road Trip, we didn't really have a huge community of people that we could reach out to and ask questions back when we first started. So it was because we traveled by ourselves. And so a lot of it was just, trial and error and learning as we go. So we're going to be doing a few more videos on different tips and tricks and things like that. I think we did like a top 10 mistakes we made.
And again, that's what's going to be the benefit of the Patreon, because we can get more granular with you and learn more about you and your specific needs. Because the hard part about doing those kind of videos, which is why we don't do them a whole lot, is even though we'd love to, it's hard to answer questions on what you should get or what you need or what you should do, because unless you know specifically about what you're doing and where you're going to be going and how long you're going to be doing it for and how many people you're going to have and the rig that you have and all of these sorts of details, it's really hard to say, well, you should do this we definitely don't want to give a bad recommendation.
Right.
So it's really hard to do that. And that's one advantage of the Patreon is, we can do like with Craig where, we can call each other, because it's also very hard, especially for me, to explain it over text or an email.
Yeah.
I'm more of a verbal kind of person because I just think so much is lost in context and conversation over text. So
yeah. So Family Man Camping Adventures over on IG said, how do you get to be involved in the expos? That's a great question. So for example, with Overland Expo, they have on their website, if you'd like to be an instructor or you'd like to show off your rig build in a DIY showcase area, they have a form you can fill out. You put, your basic information, what kind of classes you would like to teach, how you'd like to be involved. You don't have to be like a one person up there teaching a class. You can be on roundtable discussions as well. So if let's say your expertise is camping as a family, for example, your father-son camping trips, there's camping as a family roundtable discussions. There's homeschooling roundtable discussions, world schooling roundtable discussions. There's roundtable discussions on traveling as women. There's all different kinds of opportunities at these different shows. And a lot of them on their websites, even More Expo. I know they have that on the Save Expo as well. If you want to instruct, some of them do pay you a small, instructor fee. Some of them don't yet because they're a small show. So it really just depends on how involved you'd like to be and what the cost versus benefit is to you. It's a great way to talk face-to-face with people. It's a great way to educate people. It's a great way to let them know about your specific channel or travels or adventures.
We particularly like to do it because we come across a lot of people in our travels that they would like to do it, but they're apprehensive or they don't just know how to do it at all, like how to even get started. So
yeah,
we like to do it just like on our channel with our videos, is just show more of not only the experience, but the journey and a little bit about what we're doing and how we're doing it, which is what we learned from Epic Family Road Trip back in 2020 when we first started. Because that helps people, you never know how you're going to change somebody's life by doing that.
Yeah.
Because you may never talk to them or you never know how you influenced them or got them to get involved in it. And so that's why we like to do it, is to inspire and to educate, not educate because we're better or we know more than anybody else. It's just an experience thing. And it's something that we can contribute and share so that people don't get things that they don't necessarily need, which is expensive. I mean, it may be something they want, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with that either. But if they're spending money on something that they think they would need that they really don't, then that's good. So
yeah, well, I mean, traveling off the grid like that, and especially for extended periods, it's intimidating even for a guy going out by himself. And it's intimidating for women going out by themselves. It's intimidating taking children with you and worrying about their safety. So we just try to give those different perspectives and let you know, it's not as scary as it may seem.
Well, in the ladies' lounge
yeah.
that you do for Lady Overlander Radio, that's one of her main things, is trying to educate and show women and men, because it's a conversation we had earlier, whereas if people can be comfortable and they can be safe, then they're more likely to go. And if they're more likely to go, then you're more likely to go. And then you can share it together, and you can also do it for a longer period of time. So that's one of the things we do. Yeah, IG is, when we switch back over, I noticed it's lagging very bad. They were like, I don't even know how many minutes behind.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on over there. We're trying to switch back and forth too. Okay, Bluebird Overland says, I'm trying to build my channel around inspiring people that struggle with depression to get outside and explore and chase their dreams. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I never hiked, but very interested in the warriors in the wild. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's the key for us for overlanding. We're in the same boat as that goes, is overlanding is therapy, and being out there, having those experiences, making those memories, making connections with the people you come across that are also overlanding. And, you form a community and make friends with people you never would have met because they weren't in your career field. They weren't in your sphere.
Right.
And Overlanding just coincidentally brought you guys together, and you can each contribute to each other in that way. But as far as the hiking, like I said, it's not going to be only hiking. When we do these events, it's going to be multiple different things for each event so that we cater to people's interest or capabilities. Like if you're not into hiking, maybe you're into kayaking, or maybe you're into, bow and arrow, or just, we're going to do a variety of different things and in different regions so that people that can't travel or don't have the ability to, they're able to attend.
And we are actively looking for other volunteers to help because we can't be everywhere, right? So let's say you're up in Iowa, or you're in Nebraska, or you're in Maine. We can work with you and help you host an event to where, we provide funding or we provide resources, and you take a group of people out under, Warriors in the Wild for the day, take them out for a great experience, things like that.
Well, the other thing is with it, you may have a skill set. So like, say we're doing the bow and arrow thing. Maybe that's something you've done for many years and you have that skill set. And so now you're a resource to the veterans, because now we don't have to try to acquire somebody, because I don't do bows and arrows. So now we don't have to acquire that. We have somebody within our sphere that can just do that and has that skill set to share it and, set up targets and maybe have the gear to where we don't have to procure it or get it somehow.
Yeah.
You guys already have it. So that's kind of the concept too, is it's almost like a crowdsourcing, but not just money. It's crowdsourcing for people. Skills and kayaks. Maybe some people has extra 4 kayaks because they've kayaked for 20 years and they've upgraded kayaks, but they still have their old ones, or just things like that, where we're all crowdsourcing our skills, abilities, our like our rigs and different things, like Stacy Buckner, how she gives homeless veterans and homeless people showers
off of her overland rig,
because she already has a shower and water on board, and she just lets them get a shower. So it's just things like that.
Yeah, she's got a great story. Her nonprofit is Off-Road Outreach. We are actually planning on partnering with Off-Road Outreach, and this summer in July timeframe, going out to New Mexico. Stacy's in North Carolina, so we'll all be going out to New Mexico to Veterans Off Grid. And Veterans Off Grid is run by a guy named Ryan, who ironically was on the show series Love Off the Grid. If you guys watch that, he's
featured on there.
Ex-girlfriend were featured on there. But he builds off-grid, like Earthship type homes for veterans on his 50 acres. And he has veterans that are at risk or homeless come out there and help to learn that process, learn how to build those things. Meanwhile, he's giving them resources, helping them connect with the VA and different other entities that they can get help. So he's doing that all on his own. Like, he's using his own
money,
retirement, disability money, that kind of stuff, to fund that stuff himself, because there's not a lot of programs for what specifically he does for off-grid things. So that's another great organization you can donate to.
And there's not a lot of funding for it because he's not allowed to receive the funding because it is off-grid.
Right.
So the federal government won't fund programs that aren't connected to the grid.
Yeah.
Basically.
And then we have your friend Anthony up in Colorado, who has a nonprofit where he does outdoor excursions with them.
Yeah, he does wilderness
training and
excursions and things like that.
So we're reaching out with a lot of different people. We'd like to make a collaborative community of veteran volunteers, give us all that sense of purpose and camaraderie, and, host our own events, but also collaborate and partner with other veteran nonprofits to give back to the community in other ways. So that's kind of where we're taking Warriors in the Wild.
Is there anything on Instagram?
Let's see here. Instagram. Oop. That's great. Thank you. Okay. Yeah. If you have any more questions, Family Man Camping Adventures, about how to sign up for an expo and instruct there, just reach out to us and let us know. We'll definitely help you out with that.
Yeah. But basically, in a nutshell, I thought this would be a good one to do because I actually meet up with my friend in this episode. And so just to give an opportunity to get some more perspective and context to it and answer more of the questions about it. And it's great having everybody here today. We really enjoyed doing this. It's something we're going to do more in the future.
Absolutely.
And Bluebird Overland, thank you guys for joining. Appreciate you, and look forward to you over on Patreon, and for everybody's feedback to see things that we can do more in the future, and how the frequency and what it is you want to do on Patreon. Okay.
Oh, there's a guy here in Nebraska that was on the Alone show. He now teaches people how to build bows and survive in the wild right on his property here. Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
My wife and I are doing it in the fall. Very cool. You're going to have to let us know how that is.
Yeah, let us know how that is, and if it's something that, if it's something he can accommodate in the future, we can coordinate with him or something and maybe do something there. That sounds amazing.
Yeah, and if you guys are looking for other organizations that we know, personally, the people that run those, and we can kind of vet them and, stand up for them on their behalf, please reach out to us. We have a list of different veterans organizations like Project Sanctuary, Veterans Off Grid, Off-Road Outreach, those other Mind Overland. Those guys are all doing really good things, and we would love to, connect you with them, and so that you can support them as well. We hope to see you guys next Saturday on our next video release. We are also going to be dropping in a few videos here and there during the week, but we every Saturday morning you'll get a new video from us.
Oh, Galen's NRA Firearms.
Oh,
that's
very
really
nice.
Good. Yeah, that's
good to know,
really
Galen.
helpful.
Yeah, I think you told me that, and we definitely have to get together on that. Thanks, David. We're going to wrap up this broadcast.
Yeah, we don't want to hold you guys up too long. It's Saturday, and I'm sure you guys have things you want to do. So
it's nice and quiet now because all the ADHD family members went shopping for Christmas. So there's no more background noises here, but yeah
heavy construction.
Yeah.
And Misty's not throwing things around anymore.
Yeah, I'm not dropping plates and stuff. Thanks for the info, Family Man Camping Adventures. Thanks for all the info. You guys are great. Have a great weekend.
Yeah, you too. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you, guys. Please reach out.
Thanks, Kai.
We love you guys. Thanks for joining us.
Hopefully the cold water makes the gators sluggish, Kai.
Yeah, let's and we'll let you know if I can convince Joe to shave his beard and we watch it grow back out.
Yeah, Bluebird, we'll definitely have to get together and share a campfire sometime. We'll look forward to that.
Yeah.
Galen says go Chiefs. Okay.
Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to everyone, and we love you all, and we will see you soon.
See you next time, guys.
Hey everyone, want to get even more involved with our community and support what we do? Join us on Patreon. You'll get access to exclusive content like behind-the-scenes footage, early access to videos, members-only live streams, and a chance to connect with us directly. Plus, your support helps us to continue to create the content you love.